Okay. Hello, we are Grade Tracker. In Sprint 3, we successfully completed our project, although we were unable to implement notification feature as intended. Our project aims to simply grade tracking by allowing educator to input grades and provide personnel's feedback while enabling a student to monitor their performance in real time. We focused on creating a user-friendly interface, and it's time to introduce ourselves. So I'm Rosine.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Daria.
I'm Calvin.
Okay, and we can go straight into the sprint backlog overview. So for our assigned duties for this sprint, um, so Cal worked a lot on refining our database and making sure comments were tested and they're working correctly, and also the database structure was correct. And so he took some time to figure out how to view our database, how to refine it, and that was his workload for this sprint. Regine worked a lot on some of the non-functional requirements like password encryption and some functional requirements like adding in forgot login, um, just supplementary features that make this user interface more friendly for users. And so she worked on doing features like that in Django. Daria worked a lot on our documentation, creating plans and spreadsheets for us and PowerPoints so that the project went smoothly and we were prepped and ready for our presentation. And she also worked on testing, researching different testing methodologies, and helping us implement them in our project. And I'm Rachel, and I worked on connecting our user interface to our back. Obviously, all of us chipped in and worked on these all individually and together. But my main focus for this sprint was connecting the user interface directly to our existing project to make it look pretty and make sure it's dynamically pulling that data from our existing database. And so now we're going to go to the Kanban board walkthrough, and I'm going to share my screen. And here is our Kanban board.
All right, so for this for this sprint, we're working mainly on connecting the UI to the database. And so in the first photo of the sprint, you can see that in progress, we have a lot of things like the final grade calculator user interface, the logout user interface, um, the course page interface. And so at the start of that, we had all of that in progress. And then during Sprint 3, you can see how the configure home page and the logout user interface and has like moved into review. And then at the end, you can see how everything is now in the done tab. So that is basically what our Kanban board looked like for Sprint 3.
And so now we're going to go into our feature demonstration, which for Sprint 3 is probably our largest part because we have a final product to show for our 3 sprints, and we want to walk through all of the functionality that goes into that. And so we have some code to share before we get into the final product, and we just wanted to highlight some of the work that went into the base of this. We have our Django project here, some Python functions that help us do some more backend functionality, loading pages, doing calculations, pulling things from our database. We actually have our database that is available to view right over here, like our grades, and you can see those. All of our user interface is handled in HTML files, and there's a corresponding CSS and images that are kept in a static folder. And so we worked in the sprint heavily to connect all of these together to create a functional user interface for users to look at. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share that user interface that we made. Let me just change my tab. And sorry, we need to go back out of the admin dashboard and into account login. And so here we created, like we showed in our demonstration, we created sample users students to be able to log in, and so I'm going to log in as one of them today. We have 4, but this is the one that I remember the password for. So we're going to log in as John Smith. And as you can see, when a user logs in, their courses are dynamically pulled from our database and they're displayed on their home page. We dynamically display their username to welcome them, and they can click on any of these tiles to view their classes. And so, like I said, this student is put into 4 courses like all of ours are, and each course has 2 assignments allocated to it. So for this student, he has quiz 1 and quiz 2. We can see his grade and his comments, and we generate his overall grade based on the grades he got in his previous assignments. And that is the way for all his courses. I am going to go ahead and show a different student. So let me just go and grab the information. For a different student, we're going to go for Zoe Hammond this time. And so we can show that log out feature. We're back to the home page or the login page. We're going to put in some different student information, so her username and her password that we generated. And we're going to log in as Zoe. And we can see she has a different set of classes here because those are in a database under her name. And again, each class can be clicked on. She can look at her assignments. Her teachers have added grades and comments for her, and she's not doing so great in this class. So you can see that she has a low overall grade, and she can once again return to her home screen and keep track of her other classes. We wanted students to have the feature to calculate what they need on their final exam to keep whatever grade they want in their class. So we added a final grade calculator, which does that if they have a 95 and they'd like to keep a B, so maybe an 85, and their final is for 20% of their grade. We can calculate what they're going to need on that final exam. So she needs to keep a 94. So we can return to our home screen and we can log out as Zoe. And in case any of our students forget their password, they can go into our forgot password function. This is a few steps on emailing and resetting passwords. We aren't going to go through that today, but that is available for our students. And the last thing we want to show is our admin dashboard. So we just go and change our URL to admin. I'm going to log in as myself, but we also have 2 teachers that have staff access to our admin dashboard. And over here, we can just see any super users have access to add students and teachers. A teacher will only have access to add assignments, courses, and grades. And you can go into any of these, see all of the assignments, add courses, add grades, and you can also edit each one of these entities in case a mistake is made. And that will conclude our feature demonstration. Let me stop sharing my screen. And now we're going to go into the sprint review and retrospective summary.
All right, so for our retrospective summary, we had quite a few outcomes from Sprint 3. Primarily, we were able to connect our user interface to our database, so we were able to use our HTML files and actually get those connected to the Python files, which is something that we were having struggles with in Sprint 2. We were able to put on some finishing touches to our program to make it more friendly for users, such as the forgot password option that Rachel showed you. And then we also, as you saw, added some teachers and students to use as examples for what our software would actually be able to do for real teachers and students. If we were to continue this project, we would like to increase the scope and be able to make it available for other people besides just us who are just testing it. And we could use Docker to make it a container so that it could be a fully functioning container that could be distributed to others. And then another feature that would be interesting to look at would be notifications, so that a student would actually be able to receive a notification if they got something graded or got a comment on an assignment. So in conclusion, this was our Sprint 3 for our grade tracker application, and we were able to successfully complete all the functionality that we were hoping for and a few other details. We learned a lot during this project. We learned about the how to create architecture for a project and how to organize a project, as well as work as a team using GitHub, and just general features that would help us stay organized as a team. And that's it. Thank you.